straight away introduce our guests. I usually think that it is usually best to ask anyone to introduce themselves because they perhaps know how best they would like their audience to know them. But I think that we would be doing an injustice if I didn't do at least the minimal. And the minimal is that the two people sitting on me are people whom the Gambia has started to get to know and love. They have come with a new freshness in their thoughts, in their actions, and above all, they brought with them a commitment which a lot of us as Pan-Africanists love to see in our people. So, one person, again, you know, we get into this habit of talking about people as if they are items stuck together. So, you know, Mama Naasira,
yes.
Mama Naasira, in terms of our tradition, we would actually, once we get to know her and see that she's a serious African queen, we would refer to her as Queen Mother.
Thank you, dear.
So it means that, I mean, that from the Imani perspective, that is the way we would want to address you. And with her is her partner in all the things they do, husband as well, Dr. Joe. So welcome to you both to the Imani program. And I hope that the other rest of the introductions you will have to do yourselves.
Okay, I'm Mama Naasira, and
I'm Dr. Joe,
and we're
Spicy, Tasty Vegan Cuisine.
Yeah.
Well, normally the custom is for the female to speak first. So, Mama, tell them in your best words a little history about you and why you're here.
Yes, thank you. I am here in the Gambia. We have been in the area for the past 6 months and probably 2 weeks. And when we first came here, we were advised not to say too much because of the elections and all of that were in the making. So we had an opportunity to just relax and just cook and just get to know the people in our community in the Coley area. Beautiful people who were close to Senegambia, and got an opportunity to reach out to the community and share some of the things that we're doing in terms of healthy eating. Well, my story is 44 years ago, I was a medical lab tech as a student and was living with roommates and just having a great time. I studied, I was able to work and have a little money from working and able to buy all the fun foods. But drawing blood as a medical lab tech, I was a phlebotomist. I had an incident of drawing blood from this woman, and she bumped me, and the needle stuck me, and I contracted hepatitis B. And that was my change and how I had to change my lifestyle. And I just give thanks for that.
Okay, thanks, Isis, and okay, we might as well let you follow that in, Dr. Joe.
And my story started off with me being into sports, running track, playing football, so I was into my body a lot. So I was just very, you might say, a little concerned about what I put in my body. And my best friend at the time, Michael Wesson, was a Seventh-day Adventist, and I used to spend time with that family. And in fact, I used to kick it with them a lot. And their mother, she cooked wonderful food, and it was no meat. And that was my first step into getting towards where I was. No red meat, no pork, but she had a whole lot of cheese. But that was something later. It took me a while to get rid of, but I did. What's important is that my wife and I, our journey has been kind of circular. She started off being what is called the best vegan chef there is around. And she had people following her. We could not keep up with the catering. I had a brilliant idea that we could do some cooking classes. You know the old saying, you teach a person how to fish and they can fish for them. Did not work. So we retired. She as a library tech and me as a teacher for 30 years after graduating from law school. And we started writing the book. And our passion was clear. Number one, in the United States, our people are dying. And they're dying, a lot of them, just for lack of information. So we took 27 months, no TV, no doorbell, to write a book for most of our clients were melanated or carbon copied people, black folks. So we wrote a book for them. And part of our motivation was that most of them did not know that they're different from Europeans. Their bodies are different. Their bones are like 10 times stronger or denser. So there's, you know, their hemoglobin levels will be different. Their white blood cells will be different. They have more selenium in their body, where Europeans have more sulfur in their body. They have more ammonia salt. They have more worms and parasites to help them with their digestion. So we need food that supports our body. So that's why we wrote the book, Spicy, Tasty Vegan Cuisine, an informative health guide for the melanated, and we put in parentheses, people of color. But see, some of her clients are also not melanated dominant. In other words, she has white people too, and they love her food. So we wrote a book for the general public, and that would be this one here, which is an informative health guide, also Spicy, Tasty Vegan. And lastly, the Kitchen Companion, which is where we have mostly the recipes, a little information on how to stock your kitchen, and her story, and also transitioning. So after the 27 months of working on this with our motivation to help our people, understanding that we be helping all people, because if you follow what's in the book, it's going to open up your pineal gland and make you more feeling, more human, and that in itself is taking a step to make this world a better place.
My experience was more or less when I decided that I needed to cook in such a way where I wanted to start reducing some of the acid foods, like the meats, and started including some of the spices and herbs. Living in an area where there were health food stores, I was able to go in and talk to some of the clerks and find out a little bit about turmeric, which is really good for reducing inflammation. So if you have something going on in your body, those spices and herbs can actually start to clean your bloodstreams. It also can take away a lot of the challenges with diabetes, high blood pressure. I had an experience with a mother who died of cancer. She's been gone, I think, 25 years, and her diet was compromised, you know, coming from the South, as in the U.S., where she was raised on the farm, and then leaving there to travel to San Francisco.
Right. What we're going to do is that we are going to take a commercial break, and then we'll be back.
93.6 FM, full stereo. Yeah, man.
Right, welcome back after the commercial break. Right, they've introduced themselves, and the fact is the story they tell is a wonderful story. We would need perhaps 2 or 3 programs if we were going to do justice to that experience. So we'll hand over to Professor Spider to do some translations, and then we will come back to our guests.
Yes. Badi malu han coming ngakanyamin drum ngafunu nyamin na luntangalo mimo Naasira Angelati or Mama Naasirati. Ani akima wolom to joti kacha mimfunu wolom puriki fama fodron.
Yes, in actual fact, surprise, surprise, that is a track from one of the albums that, so Dr. Joe has been producing. So not only do we have the talent of, producing wholesome, healthy food, but also producing a range of music quite catchy. And during the course of tonight's program, I'll play a couple more tracks from their sort of CD. In actual fact, there are 3 CDs that I'm aware of that has been actually produced. And so we won't talk about all the things. We don't have time to do so. What we're going to do, we're going to try and say, well then, whet your appetite. If from, as our listeners normally do, if you believe that someone is with us whom you love their story and you want to hear more, then obviously we'll be very, very happy to invite them back for another program. But in tonight's program, we're going to link in the work that they've been doing about healthy eating with actually what are they doing in the Gambia. You indicated that when you first came to the Gambia, you were advised to keep a low profile.
Yes.
And so what are some of the things you're now trying to do in the Gambia?
Well, what we're doing is we're going to all the different gardens, and we are talking to a lot of the women farmers. This place is incredible how the women there actually have their act together with all the different salads. And when we first came here, there were only a few of the salads left. And I was concerned. I said, oh my goodness, I mean, I need my vegetables. But I was able to learn about the cassava greens.
Mm-hmm.
And so I happened to go to a market by the turntable, and they had trees out there, and automatically they gave me $200 right off the bat. And I brought them home and I washed them, and I made salads out of it and added with the other vegetables that were there. And I actually was able to package them and freeze them. So each time I made a stew, I was able to have the greens there. Mm-hmm. And then I learned about the BSOP. You know, it's just, this soil is fantastic here in the Gambia. The salads and the green onions. I'm not sure if I'm saying all of everything the same as America, but there's just such a wide variety where if I don't have my wild rice, I'm learning to eat the fendi that's here, which is wonderful. It reminds me of the quinoa and also the cherry, and that's like the couscous. And so, yeah, it's just, it's fantastic. So I don't really have to worry about the meat.
Akamin fotoromo golemo akabiring inata Gambia jang ay ku jamalle jemi yalan ko woli ya barandile ame illa kasi o fusi fal soto Gambia jam andum fanan komin min ko mata de fe wolon domoroti because domoro lu kakoli ya bakle sakoni data domoro sifa dole nata Gambia iman na domoro sifa soto mo ku dolti bara min ke doron wolon nata da marse to nimbe ton teblo to jana andum ay marse kono ay fenjamal jemi yalan ko atikita ko wolmo fen mi yalan ko
Thank you, Spidey. One of the things I just want to point out is how did we get here and why are we here? Well, before we went to break, we talked about the time we spent on the books, and believe it or not, within a few months, our book was #1 in Amazon. So we were just so thankful that all of the people we had supporting us helped that to happen. So we decided that instead of just touring in the United States, we're going to do a world tour. So we went to the UK. After being in the UK and doing several things there, radio stations, the whole bit, we came to the Gambia because it was getting cold in November, okay? And so we look forward to the sun, and we look forward to people that look like us. we weren't here long before we noticed three things. Number one, there was a lot of white rice here. And we know that the nutritional value of white rice is not there. We know that it's one of the culprits in diabetes and other health-related illnesses. So we did our research, and we found that 50 years ago, there was no white rice in all of Africa. And we also found that, of course, Africa had it all, but what happened to it? Well, it looked like the local or traditional rice was not grown, and the emphasis was on this new rice that was coming in. And we also noticed that there was challenges with the oil that was being used here. So we said, well, let's do this. Let's find out where, first of all, where we can get some seeds, because something's happening here. We went to America, we had people working with us, and we brought in some of the traditional rice that came from this area. We also were blessed to have a number of farmers that wanted to help us, including the former agricultural minister and the current one that we'll be working with. And said, okay, that is wonderful that we can help to grow the rice, but we wanted to have more seeds so that we can grow more of this rice. But most important is to raise awareness that the people of Gambia should go back to their traditional stuff. Eat their traditional rice, eat their fendi, eat their cherry, and stop eating the stuff that's not good for their body. The second thing we noticed was that the oil. Now in our book, we talked about the vegetable oils and like the soy, canola, safflower, sunflower, all of those vegetable oils. And they have omega fats in them. And when you put a heat to it, fire, it turns rancid or spoiled. So when you eat this stuff, you end up with more mucus, inflammation, and pus in your body. We zeroed in on the palm oil this here, knowing that if you have them in combination, the palm and the palm kernel, things even out. But we noticed that by doing the study we did, that over time, the Africans here were separating it and having more of the palm oil, which is vegetable oil, and less of the palm kernel, which is good for you. So they were out of balance. And once again, that was something we wanted to rectify. So we figured, okay, they don't know, maybe they don't all have our book, but coconut oil is the best thing for people of color. The healthiest people on the planet eat coconut, and the healthiest ones eat the most. So we wanted to bring out the fact that they can use coconut oil instead of the palm oil until they got the balance. So we started working with the farmers, and we had some in Khartoum and all Coconut Island that have been talking to us about getting a coconut grove for us. But it takes about 3 to 5 years before the trees become mature. So in order for us to do this, we'll be working with other farmers that have coconuts that we can get together and make the oil. And the third thing is the sugar. We found that that's a big problem here. And when we saw people taking it in their keys, the tea, what do you call that when they... attire, and the white sugar. And we were noticing that the damage that it does to the body, the teeth, and we said, okay, look, let's bring to their attention two things. Number one, they can use the dates, and what do we call those? Tandanara. Yeah, they can use those. They can cut it up in small pieces, take the seed out, put a little water in there, heat it up, and stir it up slowly and make a syrup. They can use that as a substitute to the sugar. They can also, since this is mango season, they can use the mango juice. Use that as one. And since we're going to be working with the coconut, you can take the flowers from the coconut and make coconut nectar. So those are 3 of the things that we're working on.
Thank you, Mr. Joe. Valuable coming about Hansain, the Kachaki, and the Bending, Ilana Nato Jang, Munane, Natajang, and in Atamuna Jang. I have forgot Kabri in Natajang, Sutelo, kujama balu wala sijang folo kabari ko ni safe taman da
Yeah, you don't have to guess. That was a track entitled Babylon, and of course it's by Israeli. So, my dear sister, you off mic were talking about some of the issues that you've encountered since coming to Gambia, and my earlier question was, what are you guys doing? So I'm interested. What have you been doing, my sister?
Well, I've been in the mornings making sure that I avoid malaria. And since I didn't take any of the immunization shots, I wanted to give myself an opportunity to heal myself and to make myself healthier by bringing up my immune system by using and ingesting more moringa. And in fact, one of the brothers, Isaac, he introduced us to more of the seeds. So we were told if you take 3 a day, that would prevent malaria. So I do that every day, and I also have warm water where I add neem. Neem grows all around us. So I dry it and I chop it. I've added in my mixture in the mornings, the moringa powder, turmeric, that also reduces the infections or inflammation, as well as lime, you know, with the seeds. You guys have wonderful lime here in the Gambia. And I also add a little coconut oil. And I cannot say if that's totally the best, but I think it's been working for the last 6 or 7 months.
I say so.
And also my husband, I make a glass for him too.
Okay, so you don't exclude him from that.
No, thank goodness.
No.
Okay, yang ini kami na dorong wala mo kabilang na jang akamune ke ay tandi ko atila kabilang na ta follow kabilang na ta follow akamin ke wala mo ka fanga tangkandi.
I mean, here we have it. I mean, not only is there attempts being made to reduce the actual likelihood of getting malaria, but also earlier, Doc, you talked about the actual things in the diet that was actually really contributing to what might be poor health for people, like the rice and the oil and the white sugar. Now, what would you say are some of the things in terms of vegan diet that can be introduced into the existing diets people have without making them feel they have to give up their traditional way of eating, but that can enhance their health as well as, you know, sort of improve the actual risks or reduce the risks of them becoming ill?
Okay, well, whenever you mention the things we can do with food, of course I'm going to look at my wife, because our book is Spicy, Tasty Vegan. We're talking about spices and herbs. And these are spices and herbs that are for healing. But if you put in the right combinations, they make your food that you're eating right now taste a whole lot better. And believe me, it's a lot easier to get healthy when your food tastes good.
Ya ini kami na wala mo bawa itul fere kadumur sifa min fo ka la tebeli nyalo yemi dadali wal mu domoro min yalo mo iki domono le bari.
Right, we're going to open the lines up now so that if any listener wants to participate, then they can do so. If you want to chat, i.e. send SMSs, then the numbers are 99485990, 99485990, 3744123, 3744123, 6758584, 6758584, and last but not least, 2110 299, 2110 299. But if you want to talk, if you want to come live on the program, Then there are two numbers you can use. One is the landline, which is 437-5531, 437-5531, and you can also use 6758584, 6758584. So we look forward to having your calls. Right, back to you, Doc.
Yes, thank you. Yes, another thing I was interested in sharing, there are times when people come to our place. By the way, we actually just got a guest house.
Right,
compound.
because I was wondering, you keep saying your place. What is your place?
Yes, our place is a 6-bedroom, 4-bath townhouse in the Coley area. And it's wonderful. There were a lot of repairs we had to do in that place because I think it was just a lot of the tourists were staying there and they didn't really take care of it. But we were given an opportunity to go in and bring in the carpenters, the plumbers, and the tile people. And within 3 months, we got it looking really nice. And the people have been helping us. We feed them a healthy meal. So they all have been detoxing, and to be honest, they've lost weight, some of them. And with the Ramadans, it's been really nice breaking the fast with them.
Coming for wala mo ila suo kono wala mo probabia ngi nga muntola mo ila suo kono di wala mo abe kololi le apo 6-bedroom apartment la sutande wala mo to mi ala ko la kono nan le bije bari la bunga ni ngamira mo le sabatele nunje toriso lo ma to bato ba so so lo ko kata min do lo ila kan saba follow.
Right, so whilst you've been doing all these things over the last 3 months, so where do you still find time to be doing your research into foods and things like that?
I think it's with each meal. This woman is an alchemist in the kitchen, okay? So we eat all these different combinations, all these things that are new to us, as well as bringing in some of the things we know. And so part of what Mama is doing is she's taking an inventory of some of the herbs and spices here, comparing them to what she has. And this soil is so nutrient. It's the best nutrient soil in the world. So we're very confident that we can take seeds of some of the stuff we've been using and it will grow.
Right.
Yes, ini haro meminti wala mo ay lanyin kalisa boko no itolu yung kamo sai ka ibikisikisiro minki kan Gambia la kudomore nyato anin na molla domoro Kenya to wakata nyadi.
There will be listeners, I'm sure, who are themselves vegetarian, not necessarily vegan. One of the issues that some of us has had in the past has been the use of soya products. Is there anything you could share with listeners about soya, positives or negatives about soya?
Well, one of the things I share is, as I take off my hat, I let some people see that the top of my head is some of the hair is missing. Well, that I consider myself one of the lucky ones because I ate soy for a long time and I did not know. To be just very honest, the soybean is toxic. And just to give you a brief history, originally the Japanese and Chinese farmers and peasants used the soybean as their meat. But they developed a process where they could ferment it and they were able to reduce or take out some of the toxins in it and contaminants. And they didn't just eat the soy by themselves. Oh no, it was only a small amount. And they would supplement it with things that were nutrient dense, mineral rich, like fish broth and vegetables. And give you an example, they'd eat maybe 2 grams or a couple of 9 grams or a couple of teaspoons of soy compared to what we have, like in a milkshake or in a snack. We could have a half a cup or 20 grams, easy. So what had happened was the marketing people, we love our marketing people, they do an incredible job. They sold us on the idea that since these Asians live longer, they seem to have a lower incident of breast and prostate cancer. They sold this, the soy, and it was the fermented soy, saying that it would reduce certain risks of certain cancers. It also would alleviate certain symptoms that certain women would have in menopause, and it would reduce the bad cholesterol.
Yang kami na wala mo sososi fadlo biya ka soya beans. Bawo ni atubi mo jamal vegetarian only wala beta pa ka sapati soya bean ka wala ni sososi family mbinalo ne watu tolu.
Well, I had an experience with the soy 39 years ago with my oldest son. I nursed him while I was working and going to school, and people were telling me, oh, you cannot nurse the baby because you're working a lot. And well, I didn't want to give him the other milk that they were, I think it was Infamil and another one, was it Infamil and I can't remember that other one, but the soy. And because I didn't know anything about the soy, and of course I was young, 24 years old, I mean, I wasn't that knowledgeable and aware, but I started giving him that milk. And it was a blessing that I had such a variety in the diet that I think he made it. He's 39 and he's doing well. But now I've learned that the soy has been really not so good. And then there was the one that people were buying was the tofu. And tofu, I liked it pretty good. And I would just add a lot of the garlics and the onions and bell peppers, lots of spices and herbs, and that was really nice because I would add it into my soups and my stews since I wasn't using any meat. But after we started researching, and I remember I was itching and didn't know why, but then I learned that my husband had studied and discovered that the itching was primarily because of the soy, and that's been possibly 8 years that I have not touched it and no more itching.
Okay. Mama sire kamen fodoro wala mo sandi tan sabanin konoto koma.
Soy has a way of, we're talking about unfermented, it has a way of blocking the uptake of nutrients to your body. We'll give you an example. A gentleman we knew in DC, he had gotten into the advertisement about soy being a more healthy alternative, so he switched to soy, and he was giving it to his family. He had a 2-year-old daughter, and I think it was several months after he made the check, he went to the dentist, took her there, and the little girl had a mouth full of cavities. The dentist was bewildered, and he couldn't believe it himself, so he started doing his research, and he found that yes, soy, unfermented, it could stop the uptake of certain nutrients to your body. And we're talking minerals like calcium that's needed for your bones and your teeth. Another brother, and this is the second one, he thought that soy was a more healthy alternative also because of the advertisement. So he switched. Now, one of the things that soy does, it's plant-based, so it mimics estrogen in your body. So after 6 months of him taking soy, he looked in the mirror and he saw that he had breasts, looking like women's breasts. He said it was a size C cup. Obviously, he was disturbed. He did his research and he found out, yes, soy does mess with your estrogen, and it can cause problems, as serious as prostate and uterine fibroids. So, being a very religious Muslim, he asked Allah if he would help him in getting rid of his breasts, and he would never get on the soy again. And he's been true.
aka taman zero dol fana foja coming asota wati tambita ay modo longo din sun ko dingole sasa so to nindimo barka bring atata doctor ya wolon dentist ya.
And yes, just to remind you, if you want to participate, if you want to talk, then 437-5531, 437-5531, or 6758-584, 6758-584. On those numbers, you can actually talk. But if you just want to chat, then you can use 9948-590, 9948-590, and 3744-123, 3744-123. So if you want to talk to our guests who will be with us on here for another 10 minutes, then please get those fingers working. Right, you're tuned to the Imani program, broadcasting City Limits, 93.6 FM. And we are talking to our guests. We're talking about a range of things, but mostly about healthy living and lifestyle, because part of the issues for us here in the Gambia has been the demise over the last 20 years of local rice, to the point that, using myself as a case in point, every year when I was coming and going, I used to come in and I used to be able to easily get a couple bags of local rice. I'm living here now, have been doing since 2009, and last year it was impossible to get any local rice. In actual fact, I find it scandalous that as someone who supports the Ghanaian sort of saying, eat what you grow, grow what you eat, which was adopted by our late or former president, is that we can't even do that. I have to be sending to the UK to ask relatives to actually send me rice. Rice which isn't grown. Rice does not grow in Europe. So it means that somehow we have to actually be getting what we eat from Europe. That's dangerous. I mean, that could determine whether or not we eat. All people have to do is to refuse to sell you those things. So let's get back to growing. So I'm really interested in the ideas that you say you're trying to reintroduce some of the regional rice back into the Gambia. So tell us something about that, please.
Well, we are doing that. We brought in some of the grains.
Oh, you've done some already?
We brought in some grains from the United States that came from this region, the Carolina Gold. It's from this area. So it's being brought in and grown so that that can start to spread. And what we've just asked is that whatever we give the farmers, if it's a kilo or whatever, that at the end of the harvest season, they just give us that back, that amount. And so we pass that on to other farmers. Now, because my wife and I don't have a whole lot of money, we decided to open up the doors so others can help us. And we have just formulated the Healthy Ways Foundation, which is certified just yesterday in California. And the federal will be coming soon. So, and thereafter, we are also going to have one in the Gambia, so that we can have everyone that would like to address these problems, they can contribute, either in money, in-kind service, or volunteering.
Coming afonu nyami wala mo almano mi yalon ko akado ko no Gambia jam sign ambassador.
Some of the other things that we are involved in is starting cooking classes. That way, when people come with their chopping board, their knives, their favorite knives, and their aprons, and they can bring a pen and paper, and they can write down all the herbs and spices that we have that we'll be using to prepare some of the foods. And that way, they can add some of these ideas to their own diet, because as African people, we do have a lot of similarity there.
Fere kote mfana yemel landi wolom puruka tabiri karambo wadada molu bin ala no nyamin ye tabiro ni ibulu bawo Africa no ni ajube mbela kulu.
Right, okay, and I don't have to tell you, in tonight's program, I don't have to apologize to listeners, but all the music we played is the music that has been put together. Did you compose those music yourself? I mean,
yes.
I thought you had.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Right, so we're coming down to the last bit of our interview with our guests, Queen Mother and Dr. Joe. And so, final thing is that you've been telling us about the things you've been trying to do in the Gambia, the things you have been doing, and the things you're hoping to do. So, how would anyone get in touch with you?
Okay, we have a website. It is www.spicytastyvegan.com. We also have a Facebook presence, and it's facebook.com/spicytastyvegan-the book. We also have a YouTube channel, and it's Spicy Tasty Vegan Cuisine. A website, email, and that is spicytastyvegan@gmail.com. And if you'd like to reach us by phone, and that is +220-347-7430 or +220-347-7437. Okay.
Thank you, Queen Mother. Coming in kare misal fi ni mo lafte to so le besto no nyaadi le ko ye website to so le la website do www.spicytastyvegan.com and in fanang ye Facebook store wala mo www.facebook.com/spicytastyvegan Facebook.
The books.
The books.
Is there any last thought you'd like to leave us with about your plans and vision for the Gambia or Africa generally?
Well, we are so blessed to be here in the Gambia. We saw some needs here, but we're going to basically use this as a base in which to launch out and help the other African countries. We understand that if you strengthen the mother can help their children. And the genius of the African people is just almost unimaginable. They can do anything. All they need is a little tweaking. So we figured if we can help with those areas, the rest they'll do for themselves. Now, we are going to be bringing in a food processing plant as well as a solar. We're going to bring in solar and wind. And we're also, roads. We're going to get the right polymers for that so it's more environmentally friendly. And we're looking at another recycling plant so we can help to beautify the Gambia. We're also going to open the roads where we're going to be bringing in more Americans here and teaching them skills like plumbing, electrical, tile, carpentry, and so that they can learn these skills and to help the Gambian people as well as empower themselves. So we just give thanks in advance for the love and support that we have out there, but our vision is to make the Gambia the #1 eco country in the world. And we appreciate any help that you can give us, but we already know it's already done in divine mind. So thank you.
Ila kuma laba wala fakira ila fela kuma kala ba min kher min di wolon kabili ngin kai la hamen ko mon ti Gambia.
Right, so I'm going to say thank you once more for joining us here on the Miami program.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
And we hope that we'll be catching up with you soon. And we will just play something to send you on your way. And this is, we played the actual vocal version earlier, so we're playing you an instrumental. So for you jazz lovers out there. And just to say to our guests that what we experience is that if you don't hear the phones going, it doesn't mean they aren't listeners. Oftentimes when our listeners are intrigued and being held by something, they don't sort of do anything but listen. So take that as a very, very positive sign that people have been listening.
Yeah, well, we thank them for listening to us, and we really hope that we can hear from some of them soon.
Well, what we hope is that when you are back in the Gambia after your West USA tour, that we'll be able to sit and sort of look at how some areas of work that you are suggesting that you are going to be embarking on, how we can hook you up with some people whom we are working with in some of those areas, especially the education bit of young people in terms of artisan skills and other sort of skills.
Wonderful, because we believe when you eat better, you're going to think better. And when you think better, you're going to make better life choices. So it's a wonderful handshake. So thank you so much, Brother Peter.
Okay, and thank you too. I see Tasty Vegan Cuisine, and there are two other books that are available through Amazon.
We have them also in Timbuktu.
And partly locally here in Gambia, Timbuktu Books, over there in Bakau, you can actually have copies of the books. So thanks again to our guests. And right, we're going to say, let's round off with a roundup of what's been happening in the Pan-African world. So thank you for being with us, and thank you for listening.
Times you wonder what life's all about. Question